Last, we have Zachary Gittrich.
I just want to begin by saying that I don't represent any organization. This speech is just of my own. For months now, you've been asked to do the literal bare minimum by passing a purely symbolic, non-binding resolution calling for a ceasefire for the ongoing war on Gaza between Israel and Hamas. Such a resolution merely calls for a cease to hostilities between all the parties involved and a release of all hostages. Those that have called for a ceasefire have been defamed in the most horrible ways. Some anti-ceasefire proponents have compared us to Hitler and Matt Hale, despite the fact that some of the older people here actually protested Matt Hale back in the 90s. One anti-ceasefire person has repeatedly called Adam Khatum a Nazi. A Nazi! Of all people. Adam? Some people don't like me, but everybody likes Adam. So intense has the campaign been against us that Susan Katz, former executive director of the Jewish Federation of Peoria, lobbied members of this council to censor speech during public comment that was critical of Israel. Furthermore, on December 20th of last year, Ms. Katz posted on the Federation Facebook an article from Newsweek entitled, quote, "Calls for ceasefire are an anti-Semitic demand," and the article said such calls were tantamount to calling for the genocide of all Jewish people. The objective reality is that 95% of Israeli hostages were returned during a ceasefire or other negotiated settlement. Only 5% have been returned via military means. This means the people who advocate a peaceful solution, who are defamed in the most horrendous manner, have done more to bring home Jewish hostages than those would have you believe that we are rabid anti-Semites. Right now, in Israel, over 500,000 Israeli Jews and every single hostage family are protesting in the streets demanding a ceasefire. Are these people protesting in Israel also anti-Semites and calling for a genocide of Jews? Such assertions are absurd and long past time everyone sees it. Dr. Mayor Neutral, you won by only 42 votes last time. It's my understanding you went to every mosque and begged and pleaded for their votes, and that very well may have gotten you those 42 votes. Your opponent, who I lovingly call Mr. Growth, sent Susan Katz a list of every township voter back in March for the April township meeting. Thousands of names, numbers, and addresses. He took a side despite encouraging you to remain neutral. Who do you think Ms. Katz is likely to show greater fidelity to? Do you think it could add up to 42 votes? The reasons to support a ceasefire resolution are numerous. Do you want the last 100 Israeli hostages returned alive? There's 100 reasons to support a ceasefire. Want to protect innocent life in Gaza? There's almost 2 million reasons to support a ceasefire. Want Hezbollah to stop bombing northern Israel so hundreds of thousands of Israelis can return home? There's a few 100,000 more reasons to support a ceasefire. Want the Houthis in Yemen to stop attacking U.S. shipping, which is causing massive inflation? Support a ceasefire to bring down inflation. Want Iran to stop attacking Israel? Support a ceasefire. Want to protect Jews in the diaspora who are seeing an increase in anti-Semitism? Support a ceasefire. For reasons known only to the U.S. military-industrial complex, there are currently 55,000 U.S. troops stationed throughout the Middle East. Islamic fascist terrorist organizations there blame the U.S. for what is going on in Gaza because of the U.S.'s support of Israel. Since October 7th, there have been over 170 attacks against U.S. soldiers, resulting in dozens of injuries and the death of 3 black soldiers who came from Georgia. Yet not a single attack occurred during the November ceasefire. And that's the exact same for Hezbollah and the Houthis and Iran. Not a single attack happened against Israel during that ceasefire. So we know where the evidence actually shows. Do you want to support the troops? That's always a good way to get votes. Support the troops. Support a ceasefire. Do not listen to voices in our community that would gaslight us into believing Jewish hostage families are somehow anti-Semitic and support genocide. Such assertions are ludicrous, an insult, and a blood libel to those families and the Jewish hostages that are illegally being held in Gaza. Be a part of an enduring, peaceful solution that has far more benefits, even electorally, than it has deficits. Be a part of a solution that says, from the river to the sea, Palestinians and Jews must be free. Thank you.